Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I'm Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond, and I'm here to do a political video for you all today. If you're new to my channel, I mix it up a little bit. I do politics a couple of times a week, and then I do new moon and full moon readings, pick a card readings. People really love those. And I also have a growing membership. I'd encourage you, there's going to be a link in the description below on joining my membership, because I do special members only readings there, teachings on different topics that I don't always, do in the larger forum. So check it out. You might be interested, and I'd love to have you as a part of my membership. But otherwise, just glad you're here in general. I want to take a look, you all. So we heard 45 yesterday with everything going on now that Biden has decided and has endorsed, come out powerful at the campaign headquarters yesterday in Wilmington, I think it was, Delaware. I'm sure many of you probably saw it. What a powerful exchange to have President Biden on the call as Kamala Harris came up and made some remarks. Beautiful introduction to Kamala Harris by her husband, Doug. Just quite an emotional. I was certainly emotional. I bet many of you were as well, because again, Joe Biden was on that call. He said a few words to her. There were some exchanges. You could see and feel the intensity of the emotion there. But here comes, now of course we've got 45 on the other end of things, trying to stir it up and figure out, they're scrambling. They are scrambling, right? Trying to figure out what are they going to do. I had a mental picture of them in their campaign offices just running around in circles. But he comes out and says that 45 says that Kamala Harris is dumb as a rock, quote unquote, dumb as a rock. Well, thanks to Representative out of Florida, Representative Jared Moskowitz, for coming with the receipts on X with a photograph. I'll look it up and I'll link it. The X posting. I'll try to link that in the description as well. But he shows a receipt of a $5,000 check signed by 45 himself, made out to Kamala Harris when she was Attorney General in California. So this is going back, 2011, a while back, but still, somebody who's dumb as a rock, you have nothing, no respect for them, they shouldn't even be in the same stratosphere, but you were donating to her campaign, and twice, in fact, a $5,000 check, which Representative Moskowitz posted on X. Big old clear picture, and he said he put on there like a wise investment choice or something like that. Really interesting. And then Trump gave another $1,000 later, and Ivanka apparently gave $2,000. So they were, and for whatever reason, Kamala Harris apparently took that money and donated it to a charity in Central America, right? I think there's some sort of divine twist in that, especially with 45's take on immigration issues and immigrants and some of the horrible things that he said. So that's a really interesting thing. I would be interested to see if that takes off and becomes viral, and we'll hear more and more about that in the face of 45's insults. And we know that is just the beginning. Like he's gonna try to ratchet it up as high as he can. But here's my question. I want to go to Spirit. So I came across, and I will also put a link to this in the description box. I came across an article from 1990 from Playboy magazine when Trump was 50 and at the height of his, Playboy era. It's a really, really long article, but it is fascinating, and it is worth at least glossing over, if not a full read. But here's a couple of lines, and I want to go to Spirit. For many, months now, maybe even the last couple of years, maybe even since 2016 when he won, there have been many prominent psychics on this platform and others that have talked about his mental state, 45's mental state, dementia, Alzheimer's. We know that his father, Fred, had Alzheimer's, and can be an inherited gene. So many people have predicted that, that 45 is going to succumb to that, dementia. Many have said that we already see the signs of it with his verbal gaffes, etc. And all that could be true. I am getting the feeling, though, one of the things, I want to share a couple of things he says in this article with you all. He says that no one, paraphrasing, he says that no one who's really successful is truly satisfied with that success, right? They're not necessarily happy people because they're successful. And he calls it a controlled neuroses. Controlled neuroses. That's a hallmark of extremely successful people, referring to himself even. I am getting the feeling that he's lost control, or he is rapidly losing control. And I know that there have been many predictions around whether or not he would survive. Even up until this point, there were some ideas that he might not even have made it this far. All these videos are for entertainment purposes only. I wish no harm on anyone. But there are some, there have been many feelings and promptings from Spirit about how long this man is actually going to be able to hold on. We know that he has heart disease. We know that he's overweight. We know that, his diet, from what we've heard, is not exactly the best. So but this controlled neuroses, this article, he says, now this is a quote. He says, I can be a killer and a nice guy. Direct quote. I can be a killer and a nice guy. And then he says, life is what you do while you're waiting to die. Quote unquote, from 45, back in this Playboy article, back when he was 50 years old. So life is what you do while you're waiting to die. Something karmic about that, you all. And that's now I'm ready to go to Spirit. Spirit is 45, is Donald Trump about to go on a very, very steep decline. And will he make it to the election? Will he make it to November? Ooh, something wants to jump out. Let's see what that was. There's an Ace of Wands. Spirit is saying yes and yes. Yes, he is undergoing a steep decline, cognitive decline, and otherwise. This whole controlled neuroses that he referred to back in with this Playboy article, he's losing control, and some of his ability to adapt to fight, as he said, as he got up from that rally in Butler, PA. He's losing the fight. He's waging it with his words, but his energy, his brain, his thoughts, his essence, his verve is definitely waning. But the second yes is I am getting from Spirit. I can look deeper, and I will, that he will make it to the election. He'll still be among the walking in come November. Spirit, please show me. 45, Donald Trump. Oop, there's another one. The Wheel of Fortune. He's acutely aware, but also in denial. And that's part of this cognitive situation. He's acutely aware of how old he has gotten, and that he is no longer that mega, that man, that guy with all that swagger, for instance, compared to when he did that Playboy article. Wheel of Fortune feels like he is, and that is also karma. This is a karmic card. This is a card that carries a lot of energy around your life force, your life destiny, your behaviors, and how certain karmic events can come back to you due to your behaviors. So yes, he is in the midst of that, but it also feels like he's headed towards more of it. It just feels like it's amplifying for him. By the time of the election, 7 of Cups, that's running in circles. Not sure which way to go. Not sure exactly how to go about furthering his campaign. He's going to be relying heavily on Vance, and that's not going to work out. I think there's going to be a lot of disappointment. I'm feeling that the reasons that we know he was directed. 45 was directed. He was told by the big money, this is who you're going to choose, like it or not. Now Vance is there. He's in place. But I think that Vance is going to be a disappointment to him, to 45, to Trump, as well as those donors. He's not going to hold up to the task. Page of Wands, his lack of experience is going to show. It's going to begin to show up. And whoever winds up being the vice president on the Democratic ticket is going to be someone who will show up Vance's age and lack of experience when it comes time for them to debate, and just in terms of their qualifications on the face of it. Between now and November, Ace of Swords. He may make a decision. Spirit is Trump going to step down? There's been talk about that. There has been talk about whether he will step down. Five of Swords, there are going to be people in his ear trying to deter that. It's just they don't want, for all of his lack of control neuroses, he's slipping, he's losing control. I think there are people who are going to push and stay in his ear. And this is his own confusion, you all. This is his own, Five of Swords is that coming at you, different things, different ideas coming at you from all directions, and he's having a tough time processing exactly what's the best way to go. There's almost a part, I feel like he's almost short-circuiting a little bit, but because of that, it makes it more difficult for him to make a conscious decision and say, I'm like President Biden did. It took a lot. He definitely resisted it for very understandable reasons, but he made the decision. I think this decision, if Trump is not in it, it will be because someone has had to make the decision for him. And how that would go about, I'm not sure. Ten of Pentacles, the money is the main thing. If the money starts to dry up, the longer, the closer we get to November, for the GOP, then that's when they'll start figuring out, do we even want him here? And we've got the Queen of Swords. That's Wiles. That's Susie Wiles, because we know she's the mastermind behind him. Susie Wiles, she's the mastermind behind Trump. And the Knight of Swords. There are conversations that are already being had, you all, about what if and in the event of. So they're not coasting along, despite all of this bravado, and there's the tower. Just flipped right over. There is something that's going to happen, you all. I can't see it clearly yet. I don't want to pretend. I'll never do that with you. But there's enough here to see there is something breaking, and I think he is having, to the extent that we will ever watch him truly have a meltdown. We're accustomed to seeing him blather on and hurl insults and just say things that make absolutely no sense, but it feels like it's going to reach a breaking point where Susie Wiles is going to have to talk to the donors and talk to the big money about what are we going to do about this. How do we manage him? How do we corral him? Can we corral him? Can we continue to get the most out of him to see this thing through? Because it was never about really getting him in office. It was about getting their agenda in power, Project 2025, etc. And we've got the King of Cups. There's Biden. Here's part of what, okay, thank you, Spirit. Here's what's going to really just get in 45's head. President Biden is not going anywhere. This nonsense about him, now you got Mike Johnson jumping up and others talking about, well, then maybe he just needs to be put out of office now since he made this decision to drop out of the race. Not happening. Not happening. But I think that President Biden's continued presence, he's going to be an extremely powerful advocate for Kamala Harris. He's going to be visible. He's going to do some legislative stuff in between, over these next months. Like he's going out with a pow. So that the idea that he could step back, that President Biden could step back technically from running and still wield this kind of power, something in that is going to send Trump over the friggin' edge. And we've got the Knight of Wands. That's Vance. I feel like that's Vance's energy. And again, because Trump is losing steam, you all. He really is. He's losing steam. And I felt it energetically even before the assassination attempt. He's losing steam. He is showing signs of age. And I think that was, again, one of the reasons why they got so pumped up about J.D. Vance and bringing on somebody really young, this young mini me, but it is not going to work. It's not going to work. And we are going to see something is going to break in 45. Again, not wishing it on him, but I'm just giving, there's either he'll be giving a speech and say something that is so out there that there's no covering it up. There's no misunderstanding. Like, there's no denying that the eyes saw what they saw and the ears heard what they heard, right? It's going to be that big. Whether it then turns into a health event, which I know others have seen possibility of him having a stroke or something. I've got the King of Pentacles here. That's not an energy of his. I don't normally get this as an energy of his. But I think this is someone, this would be a doctor. This would be a doctor. Spirit, are his doctors covering up for him? Four Swords. They ain't coming clean with it. Four Swords is a card of needing rest and bringing clarity to a situation. And the doctors are not. His doctors have basically, with the Seven of Swords, don't even need to add the card of trickery and deceit in tarot, right? The Seven of Swords, yes. As his, control neurosis continues to slip, there's going to be more of a demand to have reporting from his doctors, to have him examined, similar to what they were trying to do to Joe Biden, right? But even if they release something, or even if they say they're testing him, it's all going to be lies, and but there's something that's going to come out of that. I'm telling you, that tower, there's something that is going to slip through the cracks, and it's going to be so immediate, so visceral, so irrefutable that it's gonna force them to either have to take him out, but then what do? And at that point, is it so close to the election that they're lost, right? I want to look just quickly, because Spirit just brought it back to my mind. There's been a little talk about, okay, so now since President Biden has decided he's going to step back and allow Kamala Harris to take over the helm, should 45 do the same, basically bow out, and would Nikki Haley be ready to step in? I got my own opinion about that, but let me go to Spirit. Spirit, is there a possibility even that Nikki Haley will be on the GOP ticket for the presidential race? Nine of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. There is. Well, there's discussion around it. Page of Swords. Yeah, as soon as I said discussion, Swords came up. There has been discussion around that. I don't think it's with him. I don't think it's with 45. He's not ready for all of that. But again, I think these are his handlers. This could be Susie Wiles. Who's the other guy? Chris LaSaveda, something like that. These are people behind the scenes who have already spoken to Nikki Haley, because she always comes up as the Queen of Wands for me. Spirit, will she be? And the King of Wands, though, that's his energy. I always pull him as the King of Wands or the Emperor, 45. I get the feeling that he's either reached out to her, or there's been some sort of conversation about bringing her in some capacity. She was with him before as an ambassador, right? But there's been something happening there behind the scenes. Knight of Pentacles. And the Seven of Pentacles. There is some consideration around how she can be utilized, you all. At the very least, they're pressuring her or really trying to hone in on her becoming a strong surrogate for him, especially in light of Kamala Harris, right? They feel that she's the only one who could legitimately try to push back a little bit on the enthusiasm around Kamala Harris. Also, we know that many of Haley's voters, who were never Trumpers, were more likely to vote Democratic, and now even perhaps more likely to vote Democratic because of Kamala Harris. So that's what they're going to do. They want Haley to try and stop the potential flow of money going away or votes going away from 45 because of this Kamala Harris development. I don't think that's going to work though. So I don't see her taking the helm. I don't see her trying to replace Biden forgive me, Trump on the ticket. I don't think that's the deal. That's not going to happen. But yeah, because he's right there, the emperor. He's going to be there till the end. He's going to be on the ticket till the end, you all. I'm going to stand on that. Thank you, Spirit. But watch out for her. They're going to pressure her to make sure that the more moderate Republicans, the Republicans who were turned off by Donald Trump and really stood firm. Remember how those delegates that she got, like she had a nice little number that she had to release over to him, and that's why she made that speech at the convention. But now they're trying to get those votes to stay his way, and they're going to try and utilize her to do that. I'm not so sure she will, or if she does, I'm not so sure that it's going to be effective. All right, you all. And finally, I want to take a really quick peek at Netanyahu's visit here tomorrow. You know, Kamala Harris would have been, because it's a joint session of Congress, Kamala Harris would have been there with Mike Johnson as a part of that, to be behind Netanyahu when he speaks. Kamala Harris already has a prior engagement, so she said, I will not be there. They've gotten someone else to stand in for her. I forget his name, I'm sorry. But what's interesting about that is, from what I understand, both President Biden and Kamala Harris have agreed to talk with Netanyahu later in the week, provided we know that President Biden is still recovering from COVID, so once he's cleared to get back in the mix. But I just get the sense that this is not going to go well for Netanyahu at all. When Mike Johnson orchestrated this whole thing to get him to come and agree to come talk to Congress, in front of Congress, it was, he was on his high horse. Mike Johnson was on his high horse with 45, because the whole idea, we know that Netanyahu's trying to let this war mushroom and linger as long as possible. It's the way that he's holding on to power. And so the Fight Club folks like Mike Johnson and 45 are all about that. That's what they were hoping to do, was to generate more enthusiasm for Netanyahu's position. Now that the tables could be turning, especially given the fact that Kamala Harris has been more vocal about the issues around Palestine and what's being done to Palestinians and the whole war in Gaza. That I'm going to just take a quick peek, you all, and see what's going to come out of that meeting with President Biden, Kamala Harris, and Netanyahu, or will it even ultimately take place? I can't imagine that it won't. I can't imagine that he would leave and not have that meeting, but let's see. Page of Wands. I need more. 7 of Cups and 10 of Swords. Wasted effort, you all. I don't even have to go that deep into it. Wasted effort. This is a dog and pony show. Netanyahu's coming here at the behest of Mike Johnson. He's doing it because he wants to appear, 7 of Cups, and Judgment. Thank you, Spirit. He wants to appear to have it all together. He wants to appear to continue to be this really, stately leader of Israel with these close ties to the U.S., right? He wants to it's a dog and pony show. But Judgment feels like there's an awareness. It's going to backfire in some way. There's an awareness that the world, the community, the world at large is having. We know that he's in big trouble, with the IFC or something, whatever that body is that can determine, whether certain actions by a country are criminal or border on criminality. He's already come under fire for that. We've got the King of Cups. There's Biden. It came next to that Judgment. And the Knight of Swords. I have a feeling, especially now that Biden has made his decision, you all, there's going to be a private conversation. I don't even know that this will include Kamala Harris. I get the sense that there's going to be a private conversation between Biden and Netanyahu and Bibi. And Biden's going to give him the raw, unfiltered truth in ways that, with the 4 of Wands, yes, completion, commitment, passion, We've known that Joe Biden is fiercely loyal, sometimes against his own self-interest, right? He's fiercely loyal, and he has been fiercely loyal to Benjamin Netanyahu. There's a twist in that conversation. Six of Cups. There's going to be some reminiscing between the two of them, because of course Netanyahu knows that Biden has decided to step down, and there's the Magician. President Biden is going to try and talk some sense into Bibi. Good luck with that, right? Good luck with that, because his only path forward is through this increasingly, right-wing sort of behavior. That's his only path forward. It's how he stays, but still holding true to his convictions. So I don't think that this meeting is going to be so much about an exchange between Netanyahu and Kamala Harris, but there is going to be a powerful exchange between him and Joe Biden. We'll see how much of that is given to the public. All right, you all. That's it. I've gone a little longer than I intended. Have a wonderful day. Take really good care of yourselves. Remember the chin up, shoulders back, and breathe deep. All right. Stay calm. Talk to you soon. Bye.